What's going on, guys? Welcome to this episode of Home Built Workshop. Today I'm going to try to answer a question that I've been asked several times, and that's how the heck do you do a faux binding on a guitar? I'm going to show you my process as I'm working on this Hayley Guitars Tonic with a double faux binding. So make sure you stick around. I'll show you how I do it. So I have this Hayley Guitars Tonic guitar body ready to go. This is mahogany with quilted maple top and a quilted maple back. We are going to dye this thing using some Transfast water soluble dye. I really like this Transfast stuff. Since we are doing this in April of 2020, what better colors to use than some good old greens? Kind of virusy, right? What we're gonna do is dye the front and the back, but we're going to leave a nice undyed faux binding, so it'll be like a maple binding, natural color maple. So let's go ahead and get this process started. I am really excited to get some color on this thing. It's gonna look really awesome. I can't wait to see how this turns out. So this guitar body right now is all sanded to 320 grit. I've sanded the sides, the top, and the back all by hand down to 320. It's feeling and looking really good. I've also got a couple of wooden control plates we're gonna dye as well. This one I've left attached to my template. I'm gonna do an experiment with this after we put some dye on there and see if I can get it to turn out with a faux binding look as well. So this one is attached to my template, but I've not routed it flush. I'm gonna dye this side, then we'll route it and see how that turns out. I've also got a regular one here that I've made. It's out of some matching quilted maple, and we're gonna dye that too, just in case. So there are a couple different approaches to do a faux binding. One way that works really well is to basically mask off the whole top edge and then very carefully go in and paint a sealer, like a sanding sealer, on that faux binding. That way it seals it up already, so that if you get any dye that drips over the edge, that sealer will hopefully prevent any of the dye from bleeding and soaking into that binding, because you don't want that. You want the binding to stay looking nice and clean. Now, I have done that method and it works really well. You tape the top, paint the edge, and then you go in and retape the edge, so then you can dye the top. For this guitar, I am not going to seal this. I know, we're like living on the edge. And what I am going to do is, when you're applying your dye, never start on the edge. When you start on the edge, that's going to create pools of dye, and that's where you get it running over. Always start in the center and wipe off the edge. You always wipe off the edge all the way around. That is going to eliminate puddling and help you keep the edge nice and clean. Another thing that I'm going to do, which is going to help with that nice clean edge, is after the dye is on there and we get at least maybe a coat or two of finish on here, I'm going to run this on my router and put a very small chamfer all the way around the edge, and that is going to reveal some of the maple, so that when you are looking at this head on, you're going to see that little reveal of maple around there. Now, you could surely go in and sand that, but I just like the different angles that creates by putting a chamfer on there. Whether you do a 30 degree or a 45 degree, some sort of small chamfer with a router bit, I really like that. It gives it another surface for the light to play off of, and I just think it looks really cool. So that's the way we're going to do it. We are going to apply our dye from the center, working our way out, knowing that I'm going to take this edge off once we get a little farther. So let's get this done. I'll start off by applying my darker green first, remembering to always swipe from the center towards the outside. After letting the front side dry, I'll just repeat that exact same process on the back. Now, using some 320 grit sandpaper, I'm going to lightly sand the surface back some. This is going to remove some of the dye and leave some of the darker green down into the grain. And I'm doing this exact same process on the control plates as well. Now using a clean rag, I'll just wipe off all of the sanding dust before applying another coat of the same dark green. This second coat of green helps to build a little bit of depth. Since we've sanded back that first coat, you start to get some different shades of green in the grain. Since we've let that second coat of green dye dry, there's a couple different routes you could take now. If you wanted to leave it this color, you could move on to your finishing process and it would be awesome looking. What I'm gonna do though is sand the center back again, and we're gonna apply a lighter shade of green. This is gonna give us kind of a darker green sunburst effect along the outside with the lighter green on the inside, and it's gonna really look cool. This time though, instead of sanding by hand, I'm gonna use my random orbit sander. That way I can just very easily work kind of a circular pattern around the center of this. I don't want to take off too much, so I'm going to stick with my 320 grit sandpaper when we sand this thing down. Now you don't have to use a sander like this. You could surely sand it by hand. I just like this because it's a little bit quicker. Now I'll just apply a lighter shade of green in the center. And we'll repeat it on the back. Now one of the things that I really like about using a water-based dye is once you're all done, if maybe there's a couple areas that didn't blend quite like you wanted them to, you can go back in with a plain damp paper towel or a damp rag and blend those colors a little bit better. The water helps to loosen up the dyes and you can move them around. It's really neat the things you can do. You don't even have to put dye on the rag. As long as it's damp, you can move it around and get the blending down to where you want it. Here I'm just blending in the finish on the front side now, just using a lightly damp paper towel. I don't need too much water, really just enough to kind of loosen some of that pigment so that you can start moving it around. It really is cool the way you can manipulate this. I think I'm really liking where this is right now. I want to make sure this is nice and dry before I go any further, so I'm going to let it sit overnight. This is ready to go. I think it's looking pretty good. I got a nice fade going on both sides. I'm really liking how it's looking. Now, I am not done working on this body, but I want to apply just a little bit of finish, really just to lock in the dye so that I don't damage it as I'm working on it later. I'm going to end up applying some more coats as we get a little bit farther along, but right now I'm just trying to protect the dye. Now it might sound a little bit weird applying finish when I know I still have some more carving to do. I have some access carving and a belly cut to put in the back here. But when I start carving that away, I want to expose the undyed wood. It's going to give like a cool look. So you're going to have this undyed portion in the back, and I think it's really going to look pretty neat. That's why I'm applying the dye now, because I want to be able to expose that undyed wood as we get a little bit farther along. So right now, time for some finish. The finish that I'm going to use for this guitar is a guitar finishing oil. This is made by Crimson Guitars. It works really well, and it builds up a nice gloss as you add more layers. I'm not going for a super high gloss on this guitar. I'm going for more of a satin sheen. Now we need to move on and do some of the carving to the back. First I'll mark out where the belly cut's going to go, and then just go to town with some files and rasps. Now I'll just apply some low-tack masking tape to the front of the guitar. This will protect the surface as I route the edge on the router table. And now I can flush trim that control plate and bevel the edges of that as well. So after a lot more sanding, and I've started applying some of the finish, I've got a few more coats to go to get it to the gloss level that I want, but this Hayley Guitars Tonic is one step closer to completion. I really like it. That color came out so good, and that faux binding looks really nice too. I hope this helped you guys out if you're trying to do a finish like this, including a faux binding. That's my process. There are other ways to do it, but that's the easiest way that I've found so far to get it done, and it works for me. I've done it on several guitars. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you found this video at all helpful, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of this. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time. I'm gonna be green for a really long time. Gloves would be cool, but I can't get any right now because, well, the Rona. Pretty hard to apply the finish when I didn't bring the finish out here. I left it in the house. I'll be right back. All right, the scary part. Now we're gonna hack into this nicely finished piece and slice it up and hopefully not ruin everything else. Ready? I'm not. I'm terrified. Nah, it's gonna be fine. Here we go. Ready? Let her rip. Yeah.
Here's the process. Spit out what you want to say and then end the video. As easy as that.
Piece of cake.
Find some words.
And cut.
And cut.